As I was getting ready for the Parade of Fights tournament, I had to prepare my list of who I was going to play as. And my team, Strikeforce Justian, had two options that I really couldn't decide between, which was Brother Vignis and Brother Decian. You can see I kind of put a few of their stats here. And really what happened was I asked the question, is the Chainsword with one dice more and one more damage really that much better than Brother Vignis with fists? And I asked this because Brother Decian has a short range weapon, and Brother Vignis can shoot across the entire map with two shots. So I thought, oh well, the shots are obviously better. So I put it to the Discord full of people who helped me so much, helped me prepare for the tournament and learn. And they told me that the Chainsword really is that much better, that one dice and one damage can make a difference. Now, I believe them, but I wanted to see the data. So I put together a little spreadsheet and a couple fights just to see realistically how much better is one dice and one damage. Now, quick disclaimer, of course, this is a small sample size. It's just a few fights, so obviously it's not a huge sample size that's going to give you definitive proof. Not to mention, of course, Warhammer Kill Team is a dice-based game, and there's always going to be luck. There's always a chance that you roll 5 ones, even though you have 5 dice. There's always a chance that you roll all crits, even though you only have 3 dice, right? So this isn't definitive proof of anything. This was just me kind of looking at and saying, okay, how much better is one dice and one damage in a realistic scenario you might find yourself in? So I want to try it against a vet trooper. This would be a fight that, of course, you have advantage on because vet troopers have terrible weapon, the bayonets that they only hit on 4s and only have 3 dice against each other, where they're fairly similar. The difference is that one dice and that one damage to see how much in a straight on fight does it make a difference. And then I added Commando Knob from the Commando team, who has the Power Claw. Obviously, this is a very strong weapon, so I considered this to be like a fight at disadvantage. This is a fight you wouldn't want to take on, right? Because that Power Claw is very strong and it's very easy to get wiped out. So, like I said, I put in a couple things here. I have a little legend so you can see where people crit, where people just hit, and where people miss. And we have Brother Vignis versus Trooper, Decian, and Knob, and we have that 3 times. And we have Decian versus Trooper and Knob, and of course against Brother Vignis 3 times. And we're just going to work through these really quick and see how well do they actually do, like in a realistic scenario. All these dice rolls were completely random. I used the random function. You'll see that the random function is not there because every time you type or touch anything, the random numbers will change, and that would make for a very bad video. So I put in the random number, and then once the random number was in there, I put it as an actual number. So I promise these were all rolled. This is all random. That's why there's some like DC got a terrible roll here, but there is no mulligans, right? Where we're just taking the data as it is. And there are other factors. You could command re-roll things. There are some abilities that could change some things. So we're not factoring those in. This was just straight. You rolled what you rolled. You got what you got. So let's look at it. So first fight, Brother Vignis versus the Trooper. We have a crit and 2 hits versus his crit and hit. We know that he has 7 wounds. Brother Vignis has 14 wounds. So there's a couple ways we could, of course, work out the fight. Brother Vignis could parry that crit, and then he would end up, either taking a hit, or the Trooper could parry 1 hit back, in which Brother Vignis would only hit for 1 on his fist, so 3 damage. We could go, straight damage and just duke it out, but that would cause the Trooper to die, right? If he did 4 damage there, Trooper hit back for 3 damage, and then he would be dead with the second hit there. So let's see how this would realistically play out. I think since Brother Vignis is the one aggressing, he would be the one actually attacking. He wants to kill the Trooper, so he gets to go first. So he would hit with this crit for 4 damage. Now the Trooper knows that no matter what, he's going to die on the next hit. So even if he parries something away, he's still going to die. So there's no point in parrying. So he's going to hit for that 3. And then next turn, Vignis would take him down. So the end results, we have the wounds. Brother Vignis would take 3 wounds here, and the Trooper is going to take 7 wounds and be taken out. Uh, Vignis versus Decian here. We've got a crit and hit. We got crit and a hit, and then a hit and a hit. So they both rolled absolutely terribly. Not much action is going to happen here. Again, in this situation, Brother Vignis is the aggressor, so he gets to go first. I think in this situation, the right thing to do, they could either both parry everything and nothing happens, but he's got this, crit going on here. So I think he would, well, if he opens with a crit, then these hit backs hit just as hard as the crits do. So he would end up taking just as much damage. So I think that they would actually parry. He would open up with a parry, one of these, and then DCN can parry one of those, and that would be no wounds lost for everyone, would be realistic, kind of a tie on that one. Now, it's worth noting that Brother DCN can fight twice, so in this situation, the next turn he could whack him back twice and potentially take that. So there is a justifiable thing to say that Brother DCN actually wins here because he didn't take any wounds, and next turn he's got 2 fights to hit this guy. Vignis versus the Knob. So this is one where he's at disadvantage because that Power Claw, again, does some incredible damage. Power Claw hits on 3, hits for 5, crits on 7, and it's brutal, so you can't even parry away anything. So Brother Vignis is going to want to avoid taking as much damage as possible here. So he's going to take one of these regular hits and parry. The Knob, of course, let's see, Knob knows, is he going to die here? It's 4 and 3 and 3. He will not die. He wants to get a little bit of revenge, so he's going to hit with this one. So in the end, if we parry 1, that means Knob's going to take 4 and 3 and 3. So 10 wounds for the Knob, but he got 1 hit in still, right? And that's 5. So Brother Vignis actually did okay with those fists here, but took a chunk. Those Power Claws hurt. Those Power Claws hurt quite a lot. Brother DCN versus the Trooper here. DCN got 3 crits. Trooper got nothing. Obviously, this one's very easy. No wounds, and that is a dead Trooper. And Brother DCN, the better melee versus the Knob here. He got 2 crit. Knob got 2 regular hits. Again, you do not want to get hit by this Power Claw at all. That hurts very bad. So I think the right thing to do here, Brother DCN, his crits are 5, so they could just swing it back and forth and both take 10 wounds. That does put Brother DCN slightly ahead. And since he could fight twice, he could hit again and guarantee the kill on the Knob here. He could parry 1, but Knob can't be parried. So I think the right thing to do here, honestly, would be they both take 10 wounds, and then Brother DCN would come in for the win for that second hit, because that's his whole gimmick, is a second hit. Or he could shoot him and then charge in and then hit him. So realistically, I think in a real scenario, Brother DCN would win this fight. Let's look at round 2 here. Brother Vignis versus the Trooper. Trooper rolled only 1 hit, so Vignis realistically would want to parry 1 hit, and then he could still take him out with his 7 wounds there, so that is a dead Trooper. Vignis versus DCN, this time a lot better rolls. Brother Vignis here, I think, is going to want to go on the defensive, because the most damage he can do here is 9. And Brother DCN has all hits and a crit that he can't parry here, and this would take him out. So let's do some quick math here. If Vignis is the aggressor, is there any way for him to even live through here? He could parry that one off. He would take a normal hit. Then he could parry that one off, take a normal hit, and then take a hit. So let's see. So he parries that, takes 4 wounds. He will parry that one, take 4 wounds. Yep, and then he'll hit. So DCN will take 3 wounds, and Vignis would take 4, 8, and then 5, so 13. So clearly, Brother DCN wins this one by a lot. And again, he can fight twice, or he can shoot before coming into this combat. So this realistically, Brother Vignis only has 14 wounds. Realistically, he's gone on this one. So this is a win for Brother DCN. Vignis versus the Knob. He only got 1 hit here. No matter what, he is dead because of how powerful that Knob is, right? So he's going to do 1 swing. He's going to get that 3 damage in on the Knob, and the Knob is going to completely annihilate him. DCN versus the Trooper. Again, an absolute slaughter. Poor Trooper never stood a chance. 0 wounds for DCN, 7 wounds on Trooper. DCN versus the Knob here. I forgot to mark a few of these. My apologies for my sloppiness. Let's go in there and mark those. So we got a crit and a hit versus the Knob, who's going to absolutely decimate him here. So realistically, he knows no matter what, he's going to die here. So DCN would want to hit with that crit to just, get it out of the way. So that would be 5 damage there. And then the Knob would parry one of those away and then do the full damage, killing Brother DCN wholly there. And let's look at the final one before we kind of discuss what we see and learn from this, right? Trooper finally got a good swing in here. So Brother Vignis would want to open up with parrying one of these, and then Trooper will hit him for 2 wounds on a regular hit, and then Brother Vignis will clean house and finish him. Vignis versus DC in round 3. Again, Vignis will be the aggressor here. 3, 6, 9 versus we've got 4, 8, 12. This is potentially fatal, so Vignis is want to go on the defensive. So he would parry this one, take a hit, parry that one. Okay, so there's 2 parries here. So Vignis would deal 3 wounds and parry 2 of these, which means that Brother DCN would only get to deal 5 damage and 4, so 9 damage. Again, DCN would come in with that second either shot or that second fight, and most likely win this based on what we have seen before. So clear loss there. Vignis versus the Knob. We've got a crit and a full scale of hits here. Vignis knows once again that even if he parries some of these, he's going to most likely die, right? So we parry that one, take 5, parry that one, parry that one, take 5. Sorry, big numbers. We parry this one. If we start with a parry, that one's gone. Then he takes 5 damage from this one. Then we can parry that one. That would be 5 damage there. Yeah. Okay, so Brother Vignis would take 10 damage. He would parry off 2, and then he would get a hit off with that crit. Yeah. And that would be 4 damage for that critical fist. Forgot to label my thing. Label. DCN versus the Trooper. DCN, of course, would want to parry the first one, so he would take 1 because the Trooper's going to die no matter what, so he would want to get that 2 damage off, and then Trooper would die. And finally, DCN versus the Knob, round 3. We want to mitigate this damage because, again, we can fight again, which means DCN's going to block 1, so he'll take 5 wounds, and then he will deal a crit hit there. Crit hit there is 10, and then that hit there would finish him and actually take out the Knob. So now that we actually have our numbers here, obviously the Trooper, we have a huge advantage over the Trooper, right? Win against the Trooper, win against the Trooper, barely take a scratch there. Same thing with Vignis, though. Win against Trooper, win against the Trooper. But we can see more times in these 3 ones that the Trooper actually got some damage off here. So even in a complete wipeout of a fight, that one dice did make a difference in reducing wounds on these trooper fights for DCN. So we can see it better there. In these fights against each other who are equals, we got one absolute tie and then two blowouts where in both these scenarios, DCN would have confirmed that kill either next turn or with that second fight, or various ways. You know, the Strike Force has the ability to do a fight after the firefight as well. So no matter what, DCN won these 2 rounds. When we look at the Knob, Vignis basically got rocked by the Knob, died here, almost died there. Actually got one good round here, and that's, again, you never know with the dice how things are going to go. Then we look at DCN, of course, the Trooper, like we said, absolutely rocked the Trooper, and actually came out, here was a tie, and he would have finished the Knob, so he would have won against the Knob there. Here we see that he lost against the Knob with a bad roll, got a little bit of damage off here, and would have beat the Knob there. So this is where we can see like a big difference, that 1 dice and 1 damage makes a huge difference, where we have a fight, well, basically 2 fights where Vignis loses badly and one where he gets a small advantage. Here we have a tie and then an absolute win there. I think that, again, small sample size, so I can see with seeing this that 1 dice really does make a difference. That 1 dice, 1 damage makes a difference in the small fights, in the fair fights, and even when we're up against insurmountable odds, those hard fights. Brother DCN can come out here with that win and take out the Knob, whereas Vignis never stood a chance to take out the Knob. So DCN, with that 1 extra dice, that 1 extra damage, has the ability to really punch above his weight class. And this is what the Discord was trying to tell me when they said that 1 dice and that 1 damage really makes a difference in the ability to parry, right? Fighting isn't just standing there and punching each other until one person falls. Having the ability to deny your opponent's damage or roll more dice to them so you can out parry them and then still deal a couple hits here and there and then initiate a second fight really is powerful. So based on this, the math does add up. That 1 dice, that 1 damage really does make a difference. Thank you so much for joining me for this. Like I said, I wanted to math it out. I knew that the Discord was right. I just wanted to math it out myself here, and it does look like it does make sense. So Brother DCN is better for melee, obviously. Do you take him every time? Now that's another question. You know, when you're doing different matchups, melee heavy, ranged heavy, those sort of things matter. So would you take him every time? Probably not. But is he worth taking if you're going to be doing a little bit melee? Clearly the answer is yes. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day.